Welcome to Cybersecurity Sense, a weekly podcast providing updates and insight into the latest in cybersecurity, brought to you by LBMC Information Security. Now, here's your host.
Hi, I'm Bill Dean, Senior Manager here at LBMC Security. Thank you for joining us. Today we're going to discuss some enlightening stats surrounding phishing emails, and specifically some that found to have a 100% click rate. Some of the material we're going to cover in this week's podcast originates from Wombat Security Technologies report titled 2018 State of the Phish, Phishing Data, Insights, and Advice. Of course, a link to this report will be in the show notes. The company based the report on data from tens of millions of simulated phishing attacks and found some pretty interesting things. So obviously, Wombat Security Technologies is a phishing provider and a security awareness training provider. Some of the stats that they found was that 70% of organizations said they experienced phishing attacks in 2017. No one is surprised by that whatsoever. Nearly half of the InfoSec professionals said that the rate of attacks increased from 2016 to 2017. Again, no surprises there. With the business email compromise attacks that have been going on for the past 16, 18 months, there's no surprises there at all. They found the impacts of phishing were more broadly felt than in 2016. With an 80% plus increase in reports of malware infections, account compromise, and data loss related to the phishing attacks. This one I can believe. Obviously, phishing is and will continue to be one of the number one attack vectors. Personalized phishing tests, such as personalized email addresses, first name or last name, really aren't any more effective than the non-personal ones. I found that a bit surprising. End users are more likely to report suspicious emails in the middle of the week. Not sure why that stat is. The topics and themes that are most tempted to end users are, air quote, online shopping security updates, air quote, corporate voicemail from an unknown caller, which we've seen numerous times in our forensics practice, and corporate email improvements. Here was the most interesting stat in this article, in my opinion, or this report. 2 simulated phishing templates had a near 100% click rate. One that masqueraded as a database password reset alert, and the other claimed to include an updated building evacuation plan. I have to admit, I have never seen a phishing attack that had an attachment or anything related to an updated building evacuation plan. But I could almost promise our penetration testing clients moving forward, there's a good opportunity they're going to see that. Organizations in the telecommunications, retail, consumer goods, government, hospitality industries have on average the worst click rate, 15 to 13%, which is pretty bad. While those in the energy, finance, transportation, and defense industrial base have a little bit better. It's 8% to 3%. Average click rates fell across all 4 categories: corporate, commercial, cloud, consumer emails this year in comparison to this year, meaning 2017, in comparison to 2016. The researchers particularly saw an improvement in click rates on cloud-based templates. Business-related emails, including messages about downloading documents from storage services to online sharing service or to create or edit a document. We still see quite a bit of successful phishing attacks with online cloud services and a lot of the document stuff. We've worked a lot of incidents that, very similar phishing attacks. We've also seen a few of the DocuSign phishes that we've seen wreak havoc. F-Secure also recently released research data indicating that over 1/3 of all security incidents started with phishing emails or malicious attachments sent to company employees. Personally, I would think that number would be a bit higher, but F-Secure has a lot more data to work with than what I do. Phishing and emails with malicious attachments together accounted for about 34% of the breaches that they studied. Again, not an alarming stat. I actually thought it would have been a little bit higher. So with all this information, just some takeaways. We're all well aware of how devastating phishing attacks are and that they are a key component in most of today's attacks. It is much easier to get someone to open an attachment or click on a link than it is to reverse engineer software to do some type of another attack. Something to keep in mind, though, training employees to spot phishing emails, messages, maybe even pre-texting calls can't be done just once a year if the organization wants to see the click rates decrease. For one thing, employees come and go, and their roles change often, with regularity. Second, threats are changing. The way that we're doing our phishing assessments continues to evolve. The attacks that we're working with our clients based on the phishing attacks, they can also continue to evolve. Thirdly, knowledge and practices that aren't regularly reinforced will be lost. If it's once a year, they're going to probably forget about it. And finally, awareness isn't the same thing as knowledge. So it's very important that we continue to train our users. When people ask, what are the top 3 things to do in an overall security posture? Yes, there's lots of different things, but if you want the low-hanging fruit, multi-factor, patch your systems, and train your users. Notice that no industry reported a 0% click rate. And that is the concern. Attackers only need one user to follow the link in a phishing email and enter their credentials for your network to be compromised. Just ask many of our clients, especially if the multi-factor is not there. We'll send in a survey around benefits enrollment time, and we get the credentials. It just takes one user, and then we turn on and log into a VPN, and now we're inside the network. So, I'm going to admit, as I kind of alluded to earlier, with a almost 100% click rate on database password resets, obviously that's going to be for sysadmins, and the evacuation plan phishes, these approaches are probably going to be implemented into some of our phishing schemes moving forward. Some upcoming speaking engagements. I will be speaking at InfoSec World 2018 in Orlando, Florida on Monday, March 19th. As I mentioned before, this is going to be my 4th time speaking at this conference, and I have to admit it is one of my favorites. Very well attended. The content is very good. Lots of great venue. There'll be a link in the show notes for that. My talk will be network compromises. What are we actually learning to make us better? In closing, thank you for listening. Tune in next week for another one of our episodes. Again, if you have a particular topic that you would like to hear in this podcast, please contact me at bdean@lbmc.com. To learn more about LBMC Security and the services we provide, please visit www.lbmcsecurity.com.